5 reasons why disc golf is hard in the winter and what to do about it. Reason number 1, cold air is denser than warm air. Now I know there's going to be a more scientific explanation out there, but essentially your discs aren't going to fly as far. Now what you can do about this is you can club up, so instead of throwing your 2 speed off the tee, maybe opt for a mid-range. And personally I've noticed for slower discs, the flight isn't affected as much as drivers and fairway drivers, so my biggest tip for that would be anytime you're going to throw a fairway driver, if it's a longer shot for a fairway driver, just go ahead and throw your control driver or a distance driver. You'll probably get the distance that you're normally looking for. Number 2, discs are not as flexible in the wintertime, and I believe this could affect your shot shaping, and indirectly it could affect your distance off the tee. So I believe when a disc is flexing, it's going to kind of determine the shape of the shot. Now, overstable mold, straight mold, understable mold, it doesn't necessarily matter, but let me give you a few examples of kind of what I'm trying to get across. So let's say you're throwing a backhand hyzer that's going to flip up, stand up, and then eventually hyzer out. Now in the wintertime, you might throw the exact same shot with the exact same disc, and it might stand up a little bit, but then just hyzer out right away because it's a bit stiffer plastic and it doesn't necessarily hold all of that speed and flex that you originally put on the disc. Or I guess another way to think about it is during the summertime it's a bit more flexible, so it's going to have a much longer shot shape that you're used to. Right? In the winter I feel like the shot shape is definitely cut down from one, air being dense, and then the plastic stiffening up. So something you can do about that is you can get the same mold in a softer, more flexible plastic. Once you leave it outside for a little bit, once it's in your bag and you're playing during the round, it's going to feel just the same as your normal plastic wizard during the summer. Now if you're used to only throwing super soft discs, you might be at a disadvantage during the winter time, but I feel like for most people they'll throw something a bit stiffer during the winter time, and if you can opt for something a bit more soft, it's actually going to fly better than that stiffer disc that you normally putt with, and it's going to feel exactly the same by the time it cools down a bit. So my biggest tip to fight the cold when your discs aren't as flexible is swap out a lot of your discs and get the same mold but maybe a slightly softer, more flexible plastic, so you're not really going to lose any part of your game. And if you're not careful and you don't swap out many discs, this could be your favorite disc next time you go on the course in the wintertime. Number 3, clothing can be very limiting during winter disc golf. What I recommend is getting light layers and layering up rather than wearing a big bulky jacket or boots, for example. You could wear 2 pairs of socks with your favorite pair of shoes. I see a lot of people out there on the disc golf course, they'll choose comfort over performance, but if you're a serious disc golfer and you're out there to win, my advice is to layer up, keep it thin. You know, maybe you're going to wear 4 or 5 shirts under there. That doesn't matter. As long as you can, you know, get that full range of motion like you normally do, then you should be playing pretty good out there. Reason number 4 is dangerous footing. You never know when there's going to be ice, especially during a run-up, or maybe there's a dangerous tee pad. My advice to you is go ahead and practice your standstill. You'd be really surprised how effective throwing a standstill anywhere from 200 to 250 feet with a mid-range or a putter could be for you. You know, there's maybe a 300-foot hole, you take your distance driver, maybe you throw a bit of flex on it, but this way you don't have to worry about the icy footing, and you can get all the distance that you actually need. And I feel like this is especially important for upshots. Sure, there might be a course where the tee pads are cleaned off, but as soon as you're off the tee pad, it's fair game for the elements, right? You never know when there's going to be ice on a slope, so go ahead and practice that standstill. And finally, reason 5 why winter disc golf might be more difficult is because, well, it's going to be windier. All the leaves are going to fall off the trees. All that wind is going to come right through the woods. So if you play in a wooded course mostly, you're going to notice it's going to be a bit more difficult, and it's going to feel like you're out in the open more. If you're out in the open more, if there was any trees to block any of the wind, they're not going to be there to help you anymore. So my advice is put some of those understable discs away. Stick with overstable discs. That way, if you have a straighter overstable disc, you can make it kind of your turnover disc, because you do have to expect that it's going to be very windy out there compared to how it is in the summer. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this short video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.